Hello, you all. Welcome to this new edition of Lectio Musica, the place for great music, great lyrics, and great meaning. My name is Guilain Prince. I'm a Franciscan friar from Canada, and I love rock music for a long time. And in this series, every week I look at a song with you guys that was suggested by the fans. And we look at one song, and we are in a series of 10 songs, 10 weeks on the Canadian band Rush. Last week we made Tom Sawyer. This week is Limelight. Now, both I do first a reaction video in French, Tom Sawyer, and a few days after, the analysis of the song. Earlier this week, I reacted already to Limelight. I loved it. Here is the analysis of the same song in English. Don't forget, you can subscribe to this channel and click as well on the little bell if you want to be notified as soon as a new video comes out. Now, it's written Tom Sawyer, but it's a mistake. It's Limelight. It's the fourth song of the album Moving Picture of 1981, considered as a classic of rock, one of the greatest rock albums of all time. The song is composed, as usually, the music by Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson. The lyricist is Neil Peart. It is the most, I would say, common. It's the first time I encounter with Rush what I would call a common structure of pop rock music. You have an intro, and then you have two verses, what I wrote down here as A. Then there's a chorus in B that I wrote down here as B. So you have a classic A, B. Very often you will have only one A, another B, the bridge, and a final or two final choruses. Here, the only difference is that there is A, and then he changes a little bit. The melody is higher, but it's the same chord progression, so it's simply a variation. So a variation of another section is presented usually as, for example, here, A prime. Then you have B, the chorus, a bridge in two sections, another chorus, and then the finale. Very simple structure. To my knowledge, I will dig a little bit more into more recent material of Rush, but to my knowledge, it's quite unusual for Rush to do a song with such a simple structure, and I would say commonly used structure. Almost all rock and pop music is based on this pattern. Now, the intro, it's quite unusual because, as you know, Rush, at every moment of their career, they were equipped with state-of-the-art material, guitar effects, bass, drums, synth. Everything was top-notch almost all the time. I would say that the bass guitar of Geddy Lee, being one of them, was a very old one. I won't go into details, but it's really, they are state of the art. So the sound effect at the beginning is the sound is very old. I even wrote a retro sound. In the 80s, it would sound a little bit old, but with the unusual time signature that kicks in with the synth, immediately this impression just flies into pieces. We have few cycles of that, and then we go in the fuzz. So it's a small intro. Living on a light stage approaches the unreal. For those who think and feel, in touch with some reality beyond the gilded cage. Now, living on a lighted stage, the rock stage, approaches the unreal. It's for the one who think and feel. So the one who think and feel, I hope it's one of the members of Rush, Neil Peart. Think, feel, he loves reality, in touch with some reality, to arrive on a rock stage in a big auditorium. It's almost unreal, and this reality that we still want to touch beyond this gilded cage, let's not lose sight of it. Even if it's incredible, it's an opportunity of great value to be on a stage. Let's not lose the sight of reality. Cast in this unlikely role, ill-equipped to act with insufficient tact, one must put up barriers to keep oneself intact. Now, I see clearly a musician in love with art, and he writes and composes music and songs. He is suddenly cast in a situation where there's a huge success, a worldwide success. This was exactly the situation of Rush in '81. They became extremely famous all everywhere. And to being cast in this unlikely role of being a rock star is something unexpected. And here, guys, I just want you to appreciate that in the progressive rock, most of these musicians, of course, they like to be stars, and we all know that. But most of them, they love even more to do great music. I mean, they do great music. If they are a star and they are well known, and that's good. But I would say that in the prog trend of rock, there are music lovers, the people devoting their whole life to great music, whether or not it's popular. They don't care. And I see in Rush people like that, music lover, art lover, suddenly cast in a role of being rock star. Unlikely role, unexpected, I could say. Ill-equipped to act with insufficient tact. They were not prepared to be rock star, to have to do a lot of public relation, and then you come and they're screaming fans at you, and you don't know how to react. You cannot say, oh, and behave like you are good old friends if you don't know the guy. And it also is the journalists, both TV, radio, and newspaper. Sometimes some of them behave like they are your old friends, and you say, who is this guy? So, insufficient tact. I think there is something of a excuse that it came into their life so suddenly that they were not prepared for that. So they probably missed a little bit, a few occasions to be nice. One must, and even more than that, they must put up barriers to keep oneself intact. They have to protect themselves in that situation. I understand, and I agree. It's overwhelming. Like when everybody adores you, at one point, you can lose sight of reality. This is what's behind here. Living in the limelight, the universal dream for those who wish to seem. Those who wish to be must put aside the alienation, get on with the fascination, the real relation, the underlying theme. Living in the limelight, the universal dream of those for those who wish to seem. Appearances. For those who want to live in the world of appearances, to have the cameras, the lights turned towards you, is the universal dream. So they are aware that they live something that a lot of people want to live, but they consider it as being a wish for those who want to seem, to pretend, to live in the world of appearances. But for those who want to be, to exist, I would say with the fullness of life, they must put aside the alienation. Alienation is important here because it means that there is something of the human life that you cut yourself from. So it's if you enter into that world, a big part of what makes human life so rich will be cut off from you. You will have part of yourself that you will lose in the process. So the one who wants to have probably a meaningful life has to put aside the alienation and get on with the fascination. So not to stop that. It's only a part of life. Let's get on with it. Let's go on, continue our way to, again, to see reality beyond the golden or the gilded cage. And what is it beyond? The real relation with people, the underlying theme of what here? I must say, I wonder if it's not the underlying theme of the song or the underlying theme of the album, of their career. That could be an interesting question here. Here there's some kind of a slow break. It's I think it's mid-tempo with three time measures. Then it's up to pace with 2 measures of 7 beat. It's a beautiful inter. For someone who doesn't know music, say, oh, that's nice, but try to play it. Living in a fisheye lens, caught in the camera eye, I have no heart to lie. I can pretend a stranger is a long-awaited friend. Pretensions. I don't want to enter into that world of pretensions. You have 2 things here. You have first the fisheye lens. Fisheye lens is the very wide angle. So there's a bubble of glass that looks like a fisheye, of course. The problem is that it really gives the image is not natural at all. There's an effect of making things bigger, but it loses the normal proportion. I think living in the fisheye lens is really putting some things very wide but out of proportion compared to reality. Losing sight of reality here. Cut in the camera eyes, cut in the camera. Of course, we can cut the image, but you can be cut to live according to the camera, that is, I would tend to think that it is what here is to be caught, to behave correctly because the camera is there. But he says, I have no heart to lie and pretend to a stranger that he is a long awaited friend. So he is there with a camera in his face, in his nose. We say in French, in his nose. Dans le nez, au Québec, caméra dans le nez. He doesn't want to pretend, don't want to play that. You want to live something else. And here is the fourth verse, and I really want you to pay a lot of attention to that fourth verse. All the world's indeed a stage, and we are merely players, performers and portrayers, each another's audience outside the gilded cage. You have a key in that is reflection on reality of a rock star, the fact that you are in a gilded cage, the fact that you have to pretend, the fact that you have to live in front of the eye of the camera, makes him think that, okay, no, it's not only the rock stars who have to behave like that, or maybe this is something that we all have. Pretend or be. Pretend or be. In the world of appearances, in the world of real thing, real relations. We'll come back to that. You already know the verse. There's nothing to add to it, but the fact that when it's repeated, it's important. The bridge is very nice. There's I think it's somewhere has a something like half tempo, bluesy feel, 6/8. It's and then we're back in the 4/4 for the verse, with a delicate solo. I really enjoyed this one. You already know the finale, the last chorus. Only the fact that the two last lines are repeated. So I would say, be careful if it's repeated at the end of the song. It's probably the key to the song. The real relation, the underlying theme of the song. Now, let's conclude about the music. It's a very common structure of a pop rock song. Quite unusual for Rush, as I know Rush. I will maybe say something else when I will see and listen to the material they produced since the 80s. The melody is not the greatest of Rush, but this song works beautifully. It's a mystery in a way. Sometimes you have beautiful melodies, they do not make beautiful songs. Sometimes you have beautiful words, they do not make beautiful songs. Sometimes a so-so melody with very good words, sometimes it just works. This is not the greatest melody of Rush, but this one it works. And I see it musically as a quest for normality, seeking to be grounded. This is how I would understand melodically, musically, this song. A quest for normality, seeking to be grounded. So simple melody, simple song. The lyrics, there's a varnish of simplicity. As I say, you get something out of it the first time you read it. But like I said, there's more to it that meets the eye. This means that you have to look closely, because in the fourth verse, there is a question that is sent back to us. His situation, this new situation of being a rock star, making think about our reality and make us question the way we live in general. So you see, I changed up there because Gedely made a beautiful lapsus in the live version of Exit Stage Left. He said, um, the song is called Living in the Limelight. In fact, I think this is pretty much what the songs talk about. The song talks about. There is a new situation for Rush. The lights and cameras are on them now. It's unexpected, as they wrote it in the first verse, and still appreciated, I'm sure of that, success. How to live, I would say, as normal beings in this context. I think we can say that Rush are humble guys. They are all. If you hear them talk, they are very simple men. They do not pretend to anything. So for them, music was their great passion. Success is second, I think, in their life. Now, there's the stage of the shows and all the questions of public relation. That the stage of the shows is called the Gilded Cage. The attention that fascinates those who dream of this world of recognition. So they understand that they obtained something that a lot of people dream of. So for that they are probably very grateful. But there's the possibility to lose yourself on the way. For those who dream to be, and Rush is beyond these people. They want to exist, to live meaningful life. They have to go beyond this fascination, alienation. They have to search for real relation. I think that to understand really well this song, we have to bring back the fourth verse. Here it is. All the world's indeed a stage, and we are merely players, performers, and portrayers, each another's audience outside the gilded cage. This fourth verse brings a whole new perspective on the song. Of course, before that, we recognize the new status of rock stars. Okay. But this new status, the situation, the way, and I would say the challenge to live a normal life with a deep life, fulfilling life in that situation was the topic until now. But here, there's a turn of perspective. We are all on a stage. We are all players, performers, portrayers, and look carefully. The words used: portrayers, portray, to portrays someone else, performers, players, actors. We are all. The world as a stage is a place where some or many people would probably want to play the game of appearances versus a real life made of meaningful relations. So the world as an outside the gilded cage stage, outside the gilded cage, we are all players, portrayers for an audience. We are the audience of the other. The quest to be truthful is not only a challenge for rock stars. It is ours. Rush and A New Fame is nothing but a parable of what happens in our own life. We have to change, we have to decide to pretend or to be. And for those of us who feel and think, like the first verse says, there will be a way out of this acting career of I would say, is acted life. When to put up the barriers, but when to put them down, to live a real life, a fulfilling life, fulfilling relations, is the real theme here. Real relation is the real theme of the song. Under the limelight, it is certainly not what we look for. So when we pretend, when we reproduce in our everyday life what could be the life of rock stars pretending, it is not what we are looking for deeply anyways. So this song, because of the fourth verse, is surprising. Everything is understandable up to the third. And I might add, you could do this song only with the three first verse, keeping the structure. You remember A, B, bridge, B. That would be a normal song. They decided to add specifically this verse to the normal structure of a song. And they change the melody as well. And I think that this melodic change on the same basic structure is an indication that you have here the main element of the song. And it brings back to me the theme that we had in Tom Sawyer. What you say about his companies, what you say about society. Be careful of what you say about Rush. Be careful of what you say about this phenomenon that is called Rush, because you're talking about your own society. I think this is exactly the same theme here. To live in this world with honesty, authenticity, for looking or seeking through true relations. And it's not that easy. So next week it will be the song Subdivision from the album Signals. Reaction in French with subtitles as usual. Reaction and there will be the analysis on Friday or Saturday. The reaction will be premiered on Wednesday as usual. We were a nice bunch of people, a dozen of people last Wednesday. I loved it. It was wonderful. The analysis will come out in English on Friday or Saturday. Don't forget, you can subscribe to this channel. It was nice to have you. I hope you appreciated that. The song and the analysis. Hoping to see you soon. For now, bye-bye.